Oh, would you look at that? I'm here, my voice is here, and we have a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on, everybody? Kevin Calhoun here. This is the Calhoun Show. Back at it. If you missed the podcast last week, it didn't exist, so you didn't miss anything. If you didn't know why there wasn't a podcast, we had a video up on the YouTube and the Facebook and a couple other places telling you why. So basically, last week, I had no voice most of the week, and as you guys know, what I do professionally is I work for a baseball team, and I do stuff on the field with a microphone. And last week I had a 7-game homestand, and my voice was going and gone by Wednesday. And it basically just came down to I'm going to be able to talk for about 2 hours a day, and those 2 hours need to be when I'm getting paid to talk. So there was no podcast last week because of that. It's been a really eventful week, honestly. So last Saturday, being 10 days ago, I went to a Hartford Yard Goats game as part of the bachelor party for one of the longtime loyal listeners of this show, Mr. Kyle Gregoire. And later on that evening, I did what I've done 15 times in my life, which is turn my right ankle. And I've done that a lot, broken it and torn the ligaments in it and done a bunch of nasty things to it. And I did that again on that Saturday night. And you know what? Honestly, it wasn't the worst one I've ever done. I was able to keep walking on it, and it was fine, right? So the next day, it was pretty brutal. That was last Sunday. And then starting Monday, started the 7-game homestand. And first thing Monday, the first thing we do is during the middle of the first inning, we always run onto the field from left. Out of the tunnel in left field, and then run down behind home plate. I've got the mic, the crowd's fresh, they're brand new, game just started, get everybody going, get everybody excited. We throw t-shirts, we throw, little souvenir things, and normal minor league baseball stuff that you'd see at any minor league baseball game. So jogging from left field, I've got a brace on my ankle, and about 5 minutes after that, I'm standing on the concourse waiting to do my next thing, and I can just feel it swelling because I jogged on it 33 hours after turning it in Hartford. So that hurt. And as that game went on, I spent most of Monday's game on the innings that I didn't have stuff to do was just spent in the AMR office with an ice pack on my ankle, trying to keep the swelling down and trying to keep the pain down. So that was okay. I mean, I got through that game. It got a little better by Tuesday. By Wednesday, it was feeling good. The voice was gone, but the leg was okay. And then Friday night, working, and it's like 5th inning, 6th inning, somewhere in there, and I'm going out on the field behind home plate again I think I was plugging our mobile app, and we do a thing where we give away a ticket to somebody in a random seat if you go on the app and sign up. So I'm going on the field to tell everybody about the promotion and when we're going to come around and give the tickets away, whatever it is I was doing on the field. And as I'm coming out of the gate next to the dugout, it's just one small step for Calhoun, one giant twist for Calhoun's ankle as I stepped out on the field and brace and everything. So because I had a brace on it, and it was it's a good brace. It's one of those lace-up ones. It didn't turn all the way. It turned a little, and that hurt. So now I'm in pain, but and I could feel it swelling, and it's not good. And by the end of the game, middle of the 8th inning, I do something behind home plate in the stands. I give something away. I think it was the giveaway for that thing I was just saying about the luckiest fan in the seats thing. So I'm behind home plate for that. Top of the 8th ends, they send it down to me. I give away tickets. I promote something else they were doing. I'm done for that half inning, right? So then I hobble 25 steps over because I know at the end of the 8th inning, we bring 2 people on the field and we do dizzy bat. So we go over, I hobble 20 steps over to the section where we're going to be going out onto the field for dizzy bat. And, I wait and I can feel it. It's swollen. It's bad. It hurts a lot. And I've messed my ankle up a bunch of times. The worst one I did was I stretched all the ligaments out of it. I think it was 3 years ago. It was the last time I had an x-ray on it. I was working for my dad, and I was doing electrical stuff for him. And I stepped off a curb and I was carrying a ladder, and I didn't know that the curb was there because it was freshly paved. So like the curb was black and the road was black. I've had a problem with curbs in my life. Some people understand that reference. So anyway, I turned it really nastily there, and the guy said I pulled all the ligaments. I don't know if I tore them. I don't think I tore them, but I pulled them all out of place on the outside of my ankle. That was like 3-4 years ago. So it felt like that on Friday. And I get on the field and we're doing dizzy bat. And it's not like the dizzy bat that you did at your college parties. I say you. I had no hand in any of that shenanigan, any of that tomfoolery. But there's no alcohol involved. Maybe we look for people that are drinking, but we don't give them alcohol on the field. So I, have them, bat to the forehead, to the ground. And then I say start spinning, and then I count back from 8, and the crowd chants with me. And then at the end of 8, they stop spinning, they drop the bats, and then they race each other up the third baseline. Right? Pretty simple. I start counting, and I'm like 8, 7, 6. And then in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm between them and their target where they're running to right now. I'm at 6. I got to get out of the way. I don't know if I can get out of the way in time. So I start going 5, 4. So I'm hobbling out of the way. So I get out of the way. Excuse me. I get out of the way. The voice is back, but it's still a little coughy. But I'm out of the way. They do the dizzy bat. They spin. They drop it. They run. One of them almost fell down. Usually they do fall down. It's always good fun. And then that's the bottom of the 8th. I know that I have nothing in the middle of the 9th. I just got to wait at the end of the game. If you've ever been to a minor league baseball game, a lot of places do this. Minor league hockey does it with Chuck-a-Puck. So we do a promotion where people can buy bags of tennis balls. All the tennis balls have numbers on them. All the bags have a ticket with all those numbers transcribed. So when we put hula hoops on the field after the game, you throw your tennis ball, you make it in, you win a prize, right? So, and the prizes are pretty cool. You can win a suite to a home game there too. So people do it a lot, and we call it the post-game pitch. So I knew I had to do that, which is basically, all right, guys, let's get ready. I tell everybody what the prizes are, and then I tell everybody when it's time to start throwing, give everybody the 1-minute warning. I read off any winning numbers that we have, and then I tell everybody when it's over, and, have a good night. So we finish dizzy bat. I get about 3 steps off the field, grab a chair, sit down, watch the top of the 9th inning. Bluefish win. I prop myself up. I didn't even go anywhere. I propped myself up and sat up on the dugout on the edge facing home plate and talked to the crowd. All right, guys, we're going to do post-game pitch. To them, it doesn't matter where I am. Who cares? So they probably didn't even notice. And even if they did, they wouldn't know it's not normal. After the post-game pitch, the stadium was pretty much empty at this point, and now I'm like, all right, I just got to walk up the steps and get to my car and get out of here because this sucks. And I tried to take about 1 step up a stair, and it just gave out. Couldn't put any weight on my ankle. I knew if I put an ice pack on it for 10 minutes, it'd be all right. So did that. The people I work with are awesome. They actually brought the field cart around to the dugout, and they brought me my stuff, and they gave me a ride into the parking lot, which was pretty awesome. Riding around on the cart on the field and going around and out. So Saturday I took off from work because I couldn't, move, and it felt okay. And Saturday mid-afternoon, I was at the grocery store. I was limping, but it felt okay. I was going slow. I got home and I took one bad step later on in the apartment, and it was legit the worst pain I've ever had in my ankle. And I have fucked my ankle up a lot of times. And it was pretty excruciating. And this was on Saturday. So Saturday night, I was in the emergency room for 3 hours or 2 hours, I guess, because it was about an hour of waiting. Did an X-ray, went in, saw the doctor. I have been diagnosed with a severe high ankle sprain, and it's the weirdest ankle sprain I've ever had. So I turned it technically 3 times last week, which is not good. And Saturday was the last time I did any damage to it. And now I'm sitting here. It's Wednesday. I'm actually doing the podcast in the middle of the day, oddly enough, at 2:00. My foot isn't really bruised anymore. My ankle isn't all that bruised, but my entire right leg from my ankle up to my knee is pretty swollen, and about 70% of it is completely bruised over, and it hurts like a bitch. It hurts so bad. So that's been my week. It's been a long week of not being able to really do anything. I'm not allowed to walk on it much. wearing the air cast because I'm supposed to. It bothers me, but I know it's helpful. And I was on crutches for a couple days. I'm trying to avoid those, but I'm being careful because the last thing I need to do is make it worse before it gets any better. So that's been my week. Aside from that, this is a sports podcast. I guess I could talk some sports, right? 10 minutes in, might as well dive into the sports world. All right. Well, in order to do that, we do what we always do, which is start the show off the proper way with Patty's music, and then we get going. This is The Calhoun Show. Show on Twitter at Calhoun Show and email the show calhounshow@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube. Listen to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud. The voicemail line is 860-740-2119. You can follow me on Twitter at ShutUpCalhoun, although that's not my only Twitter account anymore. Spoiler alert. All right, let's dive into this stuff here. So, the July All-Star break in Major League Baseball, it really signifies something in the world of sports. And what it signifies is the worst week in the world of sports. There's nothing. There's nothing going on. We had the All-Star game last night. We had the Home Run Derby the night before. Tonight, I'm going to watch parts 3 and 4 from the HBO series The Defiant Ones. It's part of my night. Doesn't involve much in the way of sports for sure. I'm gonna channel surf and try to find something sports related. There's probably some soccer going to be on the television. And this week sucks, guys. Basically, is the point. There's not a ton going on now. Since we last talked, there have been 1,000 different things going on in the National Basketball Association, the NBA. There's been a lot of stuff going on with the Hayward signing and the Paul George trade, and I guess the Chris Paul trade since we were last here. It's been crazy. Tim Hardaway Jr. is now getting $71 million from the New York Knicks, and in their remarks to him that he relayed in his press conference, they would like him to improve his offense and drastically improve his defense, while simultaneously signing him to a $71 million offer sheet. So things are cooking in the Big Apple. The Knicks are just doing Knicks stuff, and they're doing it well. The Paul George trade, I like it for Oklahoma City. I think it lands Oklahoma City in the 3 to 5 pack of the Western Conference. I think it's a better regular season team, and I think it's a better playoff team. It's a stopgap. It's a, hey, Russ, please acknowledge that we're trying and don't leave. And I hope it works. I really do. I hope Russ stays there, and I hope they're able to attract somebody that can, replace what Paul George is going to leave behind when he goes to LA next year. But I like the move. I do. And for Houston, I told Dan Condi on this podcast, or on something else we're working on. We've told you guys already. Don't worry. We have information. I have information coming later in the show on that. But Dan and I were talking during one of our hours of recording over the last few weeks. And before the Chris Paul trade happened, I told him that I thought Houston was a possibility. And lo and behold, I threw it out there as a dart throw, basically. And it worked. It worked. And Chris Paul ended up in Houston, and I loved it. So, I think that's going to work fine. And all of these things have been talked about ad nauseum at this point, and I'm just kind of recapping the last couple weeks because I didn't get to do the show last week. So, let's talk about the last 2 nights, shall we? So, the All-Star game, I'm gonna skip it. I didn't watch it. I don't care. I watched it out of anger and spite when it decided the World Series home field advantage, and now that rule is gone, I don't plan on watching the All-Star game at any point soon unless there's a real reason. And I saw no reason last night. The All-Star games, Pro Bowls, whatever you want to call them, inherently suck. They're just inherently not good. The competition's bad. I mean, you can go around. Look, all right. So we had the NBA ones recently, right? And it was what? It was a dunk. It was a dunk contest. Baseball's All-Star game, probably the most competitive. Probably the one I shouldn't shit on, honestly. But still, there's no reason to tune in. And I understand the concept of wanting the game to matter. The execution of how they made it matter was just dreadful. But I understand the concept of wanting it to matter. But they haven't found that yet. The Pro Bowl's a joke. The Pro Bowl's terrible. We all know that. And I think the NHL's All-Star Game is probably the best one right now because they changed it. They said, fuck what we usually do. It doesn't work. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to see a hockey game with no hitting and 12-11 final. Instead, let's have a 12-11 final overall, but let's do it in 3-on-3 style drafted teams in a tournament. And it worked great. And it was very, very, very much helped along by the John Scott situation with Greg and Jeff from MVSW starting the John Scott let's get him in the All-Star game train. They set that in motion, and we all remember the snowball that it took, and he ended up being the hero, and it's going to be a Disney movie, and it's a whole thing, and it's great. But, you know, is the NHL All-Star game going to be great this upcoming season? I have no idea. I'll probably watch it, though, because it's different, and they don't take themselves too seriously. And, you know, if I wanted to watch highlights of the best pitchers in baseball striking guys out, I could go do that. You know, like the most exciting highlight I've seen, aside from the, you know, the hits, the home run, whatever, from the game last night, any scoring play, was Mookie Betts throwing Arenado out, who was trying to tag up from first to second base. Like, is this exciting baseball? Bryce Harper's hair flip was for sure the best part of the night, right? Just for those of you that watched it, I have no idea. I don't get it. I don't see the appeal. And the home run derby. Now, the home run derby I did watch. And I have some issues. With the home run derby, or at least its broadcast. My God, what a nightmare. It was hard to watch. At first, you know, during the first Gary Sanchez at bat, the ESPN crew has Aaron Judge. And the entire time it was just them saying, wow, you're rooting for your teammate. That was the segment. That was the whole time Sanchez was hitting. I was like, oh, are you excited for him? Yeah. Sorry. Kind of ripping off Bill Burr there. But yeah, no, I didn't get it. Like, okay, yeah. And then the rest of the show, and I don't know the names of one person that was on the broadcast because I muted it part of the way through. I started watching a documentary and I just had it on the screen and I was just watching the home runs because I knew what it sounded like. And if you watched it, you knew what it sounded like, and you are mad at me right now because you know I'm going to do it. And if you didn't watch it or listen to it, then feel #blessed, because the whole show was, oh my God, oh wow, wow, whoa. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Wow. There you go. If you missed the home run derby, that's what it was. It was 2 people, 4 people, however many people were sitting at that desk yelling, just yelling, shocked and amazed, in awe of the home runs being hit. And I never thought, and I was laughing to myself when I'm watching that Gary Sanchez at bat. And I'm thinking, all right, first off, no way. Because I missed the first quarter of the first round. I came in for Sanchez. And I listened, and I did 4 minutes, and I'm thinking 2 things. I'm thinking, 1, no chance I listen to the rest of this. There's not a chance in hell. I'm not patient enough for that nonsense. And number 2 is that I never thought I would miss Chris Berman on a home run derby call. But alas, there we were. There I was sitting there going, can somebody please start going back? Dying for it. I was begging. It was brutal. Oh my God. Look how, whoa, wow. It's like a fireworks show. That's terrible. That is bad. That ballpark makes no sense to me. I don't like ballparks that have a 70-foot window in left field. Put stands up there. It's fun. Why do you have a home run derby in a place where Aaron Judge hits 500-foot home runs to a window? I don't know. Stadium's silly. They have artwork in center field that doesn't look like good artwork. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but it's not working. What is this episode of the podcast? Is this Calhoun's just complaining hour? I think it might be. You're welcome for that. Welcome aboard, guys. Welcome to a middle of July podcast about sports. It is me complaining about the home run derby. There you go. At the request of the powers that be on this particular podcast, the corporate overlords, the people I answer to, you know what I mean? They would like me to talk about Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. So I will, gladly, because I can't wait. I'm super excited, and we haven't talked a lot about this on this show yet. And for the next month, we're gonna, because this is the number one story for me until the NFL starts. A lot of people think it's bullshit. A lot of people think there's no point to it. There's a lot of different avenues that this fight could go. But there's like two that stand way head and shoulders above the rest of most likely, right? So let's get those out of the way and acknowledge them first. It's the only fair way to go into this discussion. Anybody that goes into this discussion with any other thought first is crazy, okay? Thoughts 1 and 2. Floyd Mayweather should win this by knocking Conor McGregor out. Okay, that's thought 1. If you want to rebuttal that and say he doesn't knock anybody out, okay, then listen to thought 2. Floyd Mayweather should win this on points, and it should not be close. And that is where the conversation really needs to begin. If you're going to have a discussion about this, that's where it has to start. You have to acknowledge those two things. After that, you can acknowledge whatever you want. Here's the things I like to acknowledge. I like to acknowledge that I've been a super fan of Conor McGregor for quite a while. I consider myself not the Conor McGregor hipster. I wasn't in when he was in Ireland, but I knew who he was when he was in Ireland. And I knew who he was when he came over here. And I watched his early fights when he was still just a welterweight. And he was sitting at the back of the press conferences. I was a fan at that point. So I feel a little okay about being a little bloviatory. I might have just made up a word. Check it out. Look it up. Don't know. I like Conor McGregor. So I like to acknowledge that first. I like to acknowledge that Floyd Mayweather's a piece of shit. Is a bad guy. And, you know, let's all be aware of that. I also know that Floyd is, according to boxing experts, which I am the opposite of. I don't know anything about boxing. I know that they wear gloves, they punch each other. I know that they have usually, 3 12-minute rounds. I know that it is scored by judges. I know that if you punch the other guy more, it's good. I know that if you start hugging for a while, the ref gets mad. I know that for some reason, if there's any kind of issue with anything going on with the fight, 7,000 people are going to run into the ring. That's all I know about boxing. Those are the facts that I have. The 7,000 people in the ring thing being the one I'm positive about. The rest of those, I'm pretty sure the last one, 100% true. If there's ever any issue, controversy, the lights go out, whatever's going to happen, 7,000 people will be in the ring within 10 seconds. Count it. Count it out. Count the people. I'm right. So here's the way I want this to go. And this is where a lot of people that take the Conor side of this go first, and they like to ignore the Floyd stuff. And that's fine. It's silly. But after those two initial outcomes, there comes the third one. And the third one's the only other one I can see that really makes any sense. Okay? Floyd either knocks him out, probably not. Wins by points, probably, right? That's probably 90% of the outcomes taken away right there. Maybe 95, maybe 99, I don't know. But it's high. Conor winning by points, that won't happen. Professional boxers, 49 of them have tried and not come close to beating Floyd Mayweather Jr. on points. It won't happen. We all know it's not going to happen. It is the Conor winning this on points is you saying that Floyd could walk into an octagon and beat Conor. Okay? That's the equivalent. You can't argue it. The Vegas odds are just stupefying on a Conor McGregor decision win here. Like it's crazy money. Not going to happen. So if Conor can win, that means he has to knock him out. There is ample evidence to suggest that Conor is capable of knocking Floyd out. There is way more evidence that suggests that Floyd is capable of avoiding whatever Conor wants to do to knock him out. Okay? Those two things balance together. Conor is a bigger guy. He has fought bigger guys. He has not been knocked out by guys that are bigger that hit harder. That said, he's never going to get hit as many times as he gets hit by Floyd. Those bigger guys that Conor has put down, they don't move as fast. They're not defensive fighters like Floyd Mayweather. Nobody's a defensive fighter like Floyd Mayweather. I think that Conor has the real definition of a puncher's chance in a realistic way. I don't think it's a 1 in 1,000 chance. I think he's a skilled stand-up fighter. I don't know if you can call him a boxer, but I don't think he's going in there to box. And if you listen to guys that are smart on stuff like this, if you turn on FS1 and you want to listen to Skip tell you why Conor can win this fight, I mean, go for it. You can go do that. I'm not gonna judge you if you want to watch that and listen to that and take that as your gospel. But that's not a person that knows the sport of MMA. He doesn't know enough about Conor to make that decision and to be, and he's super loud about it because that's his job and that's what he's there to do, is to have an opinion and be loud about it. And that's fine, but that's not a good source, right? If I have people I like to listen to that I trust their opinions, and guys like Joe Rogan, Brendan Schaub, Schaub especially talks about this, and he mentions the fact that there's a couple things in this fight that do matter if you are a person that wants Conor to win. Number one, if there's a place that boxers go to escape, it's the clinch. That's where they go to get rest. They hug each other, they whisper sweet nothings, whatever it is that they do. The clinch, you can only imagine, would have to be hell for Floyd in this fight. There's no way Conor will let him rest. There's no way Conor will let him rest. And this is a point that Rogan made in the last couple of weeks where he said, Conor's not going to gas in this fight. And it's not like, there's no way. He fought a fight at 170 against Nate Diaz, who's twice Floyd's size. And he went 5-minute rounds. Punching, kicking. You could wrestle. They didn't wrestle in that fight. Nate tried. Conor didn't want to go to the ground with him again, obviously. But grueling 5-minute rounds with leg kicks and all of those terrible things that happen in an MMA fight. 12 3-minute rounds? That's nothing. For Conor, that's nothing. So he's going to be fresh the whole fight. The clinch is going to be hell the whole fight. And here's the other part, and this is where the simplest argument and probably the most logical argument for people that say Floyd will win, which I'm one of them. I think Floyd will win. I hope he doesn't, but I think he will. Floyd has fought 49 boxers and beaten 49 boxers soundly, right? That's what he's done, pretty much. Been tagged here and there, but you can show those highlights if you want. I don't know how pertinent they are to this. The real point is, Conor's not a boxer. He doesn't move like a boxer. He's not going to attack Floyd the same way Floyd's been attacked before. He might come from different angles. He might come from different places. He's got a shot. He really does have a shot. That's the acknowledgement that really has to be made here. He has the power in his left hand to sleep Floyd Mayweather. He does have that. If Floyd stood still and let Conor punch him in the jaw, he'd knock him out. He'd knock him out. Can he hit him when he's moving? I don't know. I have my doubts, but I hope he can. Really do. I hope he can. All right, take a quick break and we'll wrap it up. It's Calhoun Show.
The Calhoun Show.
All right, so I mentioned it before, and I will mention it now on my way out here, that the KCDC East versus West podcast, starring yours truly, and Mr. Dan Condi, the DC portion of the show, is going live next week. Yes, that's right. On an iTunes near you, on a Stitcher, a SoundCloud near you. KCDC East versus West, it is coming. We recorded our first episode for any ears on Monday night. It has been given to a few people to listen to give us some feedback, and we've been working really hard on this for a couple of months now, and the idea has been around for a little longer than that. So we're very excited about it. We love where the show has gotten to at this point. We are both really honestly thrilled to acknowledge that it's 5% at most into the actual, structure that we're going to end up falling into. And whatever's to come next is going to be great. I'm super excited about it. I think the concept is amazing. I think the execution that we're going to put forward and the work that we're going to put in to make sure that happens is going to be equally good. So I'm very excited about it. If you guys if you would like to, and I would sure love it if you did, start following the KCDC channels on social media. I know for a fact that the Twitter handle at KCDCEVW is up and running. There are also 2 Twitter handles I alluded to earlier in the show, run by Dan and myself, where we're going to be doing all of our, trash talk back and forth between each other on show-related items, with the crux of the show being a competition between the two of us. So my Twitter handle will still be there, but I mean, you guys know I don't do much on Twitter with that, but I am going to start. I'm going to be active on my new Twitter handle at KCDC_East and at KCDC_West is how you can follow Dan and I in that way. You can find the show on Facebook, and then when it goes on iTunes, obviously we'll let you guys know. But we're super excited, and a few of the listeners of this show have been excited about it. I know we've heard back from a few people asking where people can follow and where you guys can get in touch with the new show and asking when it's coming out. So there you go. It's coming out next week. It's KCDC East versus West, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good, and we're excited. So that's it. Kind of a short show. Sorry, boys and girls. Half hour. It's kind of lame on my part after missing a week, but I'm sorry. Listen, this week sucks. There's not a lot, man. I hope I made it an entertaining half an hour at least, because I was basically just mad about the home run derby for most of this, but oh my God, look how far the home run went. See you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to The Calhoun Show. Join the conversation by following the show on Twitter at Calhoun Show and emailing the show at calhounshow@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe and download for free on iTunes. Want to hear yourself on the show? Leave us a voicemail by calling 860-740-2119.